Hey there, fellow Planeswalkers, it's Steve for Collector Mania, and we're continuing on with our Dominaria deck for Commander series. So we've got Muldrotha Gravetide, so 3 colorless and Sultai, legendary creature elemental avatar, 6/6. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So this card's absolutely ridiculous. If you think about it, it's like Carador on steroids. I know it doesn't have the cost reduction side that Carador has, but really in these colors we don't care too much. I mean, we ramp just fine. I decided to go with more of like a creature heavy build, so that was my permanent type of choice. I know a lot of my friends have been bringing up that this guy works ridiculous with planeswalkers and artifacts and enchantments that, you know, sacrifice and recur, stuff like that. And I totally agree, but I just really like creature-based recursion. It's just my one of my most favorite playstyles. So anyway, let's break into the deck here really quick. We'll go with our creatures first. We've got Deathrite Shaman, so a little bit of amazing early game play here. I mean, the activated abilities on this card are absolutely ridiculous. If you haven't played with it before, it's ridiculous. You just, you know, you can make mana, you can exile stuff, damage your opponents, you can exile creatures, gain life. It's just a great utility card. Then I've got a Spore Frog, so a great way to prevent combat damage, and then being able to recur is just amazing. Then I've got a Viscera Seer. This is probably one of my favorite sack outlets of all time. Just being able to constantly scry and then just get rid of everything you want to at instant speed. Yeah. Then I've got a Baleful Strix. I can't wait to start recurring this card. And we've got Blood Artist. Of course, with the amount of creatures that we're going to have dying and coming back, we want something like this. Fauna Shaman. This is going to be one of our key pieces, so we want to find this early and just start pitching things that we want to recur later and grabbing things that we need to play now. Lotleth Troll. Then we've got Phantasmal Image, another great key here, or key piece in here. I mean, you copy something, clone it, it gets targeted or just dies on its own, you know, through combat or something like that, and then you just recur it, bring it back, copy something else. Very cheap. Sakura Tribuilder, an amazing way to just ramp up. Satyr Wayfinder, a great way to fill our graveyard and find lands. I've got an Eternal Witness, a little bit more recursion. Farhaven Elf, ramp. Reclamation Sage, a little bit of artifact and enchantment destruction, pretty important, I would say. Thrashing Rontodon, this is essentially our Qasali Pride Mage. I know it's not as good, but we have it. Wood Elves. Gahini, one of our best sack outlets again. Archaeomancer, so we have not too many instants and sorceries in the deck, but we do have a few, so having something like Archaeomancer to just recur those with, you know, her ability is pretty good. Clever Impersonator, basically copy anything we want to. Disciple of Bolas, a great way to draw cards and gain life. Forgotten Creation, a great way to fill our graveyard once again and draw a bunch of cards. Hostage Taker, this is a more recent card from Ixalan. I have fallen in love with it. I know it was great in Standard, well, it still is great in Standard, but I've been playing it more and more in like my Esper Commander decks, and it's actually working really amazing, so I'm excited to see it out, or how it plays here. I've got a Drod, Golgari Lich, so one of our win conditions, really. We did include a Lord of Extinction in the deck just because of this guy. So, I mean, it just works perfectly. You know, you can sacrifice anything, you know, Lord of Extinction being the best, but I've seen people win just by sacking things that they, like a recursion loop with Marin with this guy, and it works really well. They've got a Ravenous Chupacabra, some removal. Sidisi Brood Tyrant, so make some zombies, fill our graveyard. Acidic Slime, some more artifact and enchantment destruction. Corpse Connoisseur, so a Entomb on a guy essentially. I mean, it's not as good, but it does have Unearth and it can recur itself if you need it to. Plus, it's not, I mean, that hard to cast. I mean, 4 colors and a black, so pretty easy. Lord of Extinction, as we talked about before, one of the best sack targets for Drod. Muldrifter. Of course, we're gonna, you know, evoke the fish and then evoke the fish and then evoke the fish, so that's gonna work out really, really well. I've got a Sidisi Undead Vizier, so of course recurring this creature is going to be amazing, being able to tutor up anything from our library, just exploit it to itself and then just cast it with Muldrotha again and exploit it over and over again. I think that's going to be ridiculous. We've got Tegam Sidisi's Hand. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite cards. I know it limits you because you don't get to draw, but it does let you look at the top cards of your library and select one and put the other ones in the graveyard, and with a deck like this, that's absolutely ridiculous. I wish it had partner on it, and Muldrotha had partner on it, and we just live in a ridiculous world where this deck would just be an absolute nightmare. I've got the Get Rog Frog. So, if you look at this deck and you want to go like more combo centered, you can start including pieces like this from like the Get Rog Frog and like those land combos that you've got running in its own deck. So, I mean, this guy actually has a lot of utility as far as like the things that you can include in the deck, like the combos that you can do. I tend to stay kind of away from combos like that just because I like playing the game more like Battlecruiser style, but just a thought, really. I've got the Scarab God, of course, you know, being able to recur our opponent's creatures as well. Plus, you know, Scarab God just works really well in any type of strategy. I've got Consecrated Sphinx. So yeah, this guy's going to die. You're just going to recur it, and it's not going to matter. Deadeye Navigator. We've got a lot of really good ETBs in the deck, so having something like Deadeye Navigator to potentially win the game, yeah. Dragonlord Slumgar. Kakusho the Evening Star. Noxious Gearhulk, one of our really good recursion removal cards. Sepulchral Primordial. Yeah, I absolutely love this card. It's probably one of my favorites. Just being able to nab your opponent's creatures once again and use them and sack them to, like, I don't know, like your Disciple Bolus or something like that. Yeah, so good. Then we're breaking into our artifacts here. So we've got an Elixir of Immortality. Yeah, unfortunately we are going to run into some graveyard hate, just because that's the deck we're playing. So having something like this that you can sack and bring back, you know, if somebody you accidentally put it into your graveyard or somebody puts it there before you get to use it, the good thing is you can just recur it with Muldrotha, so that's really good. Otherwise, it's just a good instant speed shuffle when somebody goes to Bajuk you or something like that. Birthing Pod. So, as always, we're running a very like toolboxy deck, so having something like this is going to be key. Panharmonicon, once again, a ton of really good ETBs, so something like this is amazing again. Then we've got a Memory Jar, so I can't wait to do this. It's going to be amazing. Just being able to sacrifice it, put a bunch of new cards in your hand, put your hand to the side, and then potentially just throw all the stuff you just got back into your graveyard and get your original hand back. Like, that's going to be an amazing line of play, just being able to recur all that stuff again. Yeah, it works perfectly for us. Plus, it might screw up our opponents for a turn or two. Then we've got an Orbs of Warding, once again. With the fact that we are playing a graveyard deck, having something like this is super important. I mean, normally in Carador there's a few other ways to do this because we've got access to white. But here we're kind of limited, so this, I don't know, I've never played with the card before, I've never really had to, but I think it's a good include. I think it's important in something like this because I really do not want to get hit by Bajuk or some other kind of graveyard removal, so yeah. And then we've got a Animate Dead. You know, this these two pair together, yeah, absolutely perfectly. Like chocolate and peanut butter. We've got Evolutionary Leap, another great sack outlet. Search for Azcanta. So if you haven't played with this card before, it's at the beginning of your upkeep. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Then if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search for Azcanta. Then it flips over and turns to a land. That taps for a blue, or you can pay 2 and a colorless. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. So essentially, early game, it's just putting stuff in our graveyard. Late game, it's finding the few other permanent types and spell type cards that we have in the deck, just to, you know, kind of filter through and put stuff in our graveyard to cast. So really good. I've got a Sylvan Library. Journey to Eternity. This card's absolutely amazing. I didn't even realize, I played against Greg the other night and he used this on one of my creatures, and I didn't realize that it actually returned it to under your control. So that's that's really good. So first side's great for recursion. Second side is also amazing for recursion. Having a land that has an activated ability of 3 colors, a black and a green. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield is amazing. I've got Sultai Ascendancy, so just a good at the beginning of your upkeep trigger. So look at the top 2 cards of your library, put any number of them into your graveyard, the rest back on top of your library. So with Muldrotha, as we have 2 libraries, or 2 hands essentially is what I'm trying to get at. This card works really amazing. Dictate of Erebos, a little bit of attrition. And then we're getting to our instants here, so of course Entomb. So like early game, just grabbing like your Sakura Tribe Elder to recur later, you know, when you can, or your Eternal Witness or anything like that. Really, yeah, amazing. And I've got a Grizzly Salvage, just filling up that graveyard once again. Forbidden Alchemy, another great way to fill our graveyard. Sultai Charm, I cannot get away from this card. Whenever I play Sultai, it just does basically everything you want it to do. I know it's limited on its removal side as far as creatures, because it can only hit monocolored creatures, but there are a ton of monocolored creatures that we need to get rid of in this format, you know. Think of like Sun Titan, Childred, any of those types of cards. Then destroy target artifact or enchantment, or draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Then Ancient Excavation, so another amazing card. I love the basic land cycling on this too. Psychic Spiral, so another way to save our graveyard just in case. I've actually used this card to win the game. Like, if your graveyard is large enough and you have an opponent that is being super angsty towards you and you just want to get them, you can definitely just mill them out. And I've got Sylvan's Command, great utility, or like just modal spell in general. I mean, 3 colors, a blue and a black, choose 2, counter target non-creature spell, return a permanent to its owner's hand. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn, or destroy target planeswalker. Then our sorceries, we got a Buried Alive, a Victimize, a Dread Return, Extract from Darkness. This is a great recursion spell. It not only lets you get creatures from your graveyard, but potentially creatures from other people's graveyards as well. Living Death, of course. And then we're breaking into our lands. We've got a Breeding Pool, a Crypt of Agadeem, a Darkmoor Salvage, a little bit of Dredge, Drowned Catacombs, Fetid Pools, Hinterland Harbor, Opulent Palace, Overgrown Tomb, Sunken Hollow, Watery Grave, Woodland Cemetery, and then some forests, some islands, and some swamps. So overall, I'm super pumped to build this deck. I think it's going to be, I mean, like I said earlier, if you guys watched the Let's Talk About It, where we review all the cards for the most part when they were spoiled the first time, like, I'm just excited to put this in my deck. I may or may not replace Tasker with this guy. I don't know. I've been playing like a really heavy control deck with Tasker for a while now, and I like it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm just kind of getting tired of that strategy, so I might switch it up and try this guy out for a little bit. Either that, or it'll just go in the deck. I mean, really, like, he works great as a creature as well. So, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and you look forward to the next deck tech. Thanks. Bye.